Hello, this is Heidi with Ascend Therapy Services, and we are here with our Aging with Independence Together series, talking with Deidre with First Choice Advisory, and I will just let her tell us more about what that is. If you see me moving around weirdly on the screen, I'm trying to rock a baby to sleep, so just bear with us. But Deidre, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Of course, of course. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
One thing I like to do is talk about where I work and what we do, and it's something that I have done most of my life. I have had a passion for seniors since kindergarten, when I blew off school and would go pick flowers and go deliver them to the nursing home instead of going to school.
That's awesome.
That really, my mom reminded me of the story before she had passed, and I was like, oh, that's right, I was blowing off school back then. She's like, don't you think the point was that you went to seniors? I was like, sure.
Yes, some people are just made for certain things.
It's true. It's true.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about First Choice Advisory and how it works, what services you guys provide.
Sure. Gosh, I hope I can do it justice. We do so much. We are an agency that provides placement for those who are in need of temporary or permanent change in their housing. So if they're living at home, they've maybe fallen, or they're at a point in their health where they cannot stay at home any longer safely, then we would work with them and for the family and find a place that could include adult family homes. Maybe it's even just independent living or retirement living. We also look for assisted living, and just those types, something to be supportive. If they're not ready to leave the home, we still can help them by offering home services, kind of like yours too. um, but something that can allow them to stay at home for as long as possible, if not, till the end. But if that is not an option, that's where we come in and help the families and or the client themselves find a place that's most appropriate.
That's awesome. And that's so important because there's so many options out there and so many people just have no idea where to turn or how to even start looking. So having that guidance and someone who knows about different buildings and different types of buildings, someone might not know, do I go to an adult family home? Do I go to assisted living? Like what are these things? So
Right.
that's huge to kind of give that clarity.
Not knowing what to ask or how to ask. Just over the last 6 months, as I've been taking on more clients myself versus just the business development, um, I have noticed that a lot of my moves are from one assisted living to a different setting, like an adult family home. And why that's a problem is, when you're a senior, if there's a diagnosis of dementia, or even just moving in general, it doesn't matter what your diagnosis is, it's very disconcerting. It's very difficult mentally. There's just a lot of negative around having to continue to move. So how we can help, and what's kind of opened my eyes, is making sure that we make the right fit the first time, because we don't want several moves. And the people I'm working with more and more, I wish they would have had a service like ours, because then they wouldn't have had to move within 6 months of their initial move. Or, this isn't 5, 6 years down the line. This is within 3 to 7 months on quite a few of them. So
Right.
that's really, really hard. And the people inside the communities are just asking what they know to ask. The families answer what they know to answer. And so having somebody that's been in healthcare, and most of us have been in for, gosh, over 20 years, there's a lot of social workers, nurses, all sorts of different careers that kind of ended everybody here for the right reasons. And we are experts on what to ask, how to ask, and how to guide. There's a lot of family dynamics, usually a lot of different ideas, misconceptions. So we really kind of drill into that and listen to what you're saying, but also can offer some insight into how things have changed over the years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that, knowing what to ask and knowing how to answer, and because like I said, people just don't know. Those people who do find a space on their own and then 6 months later need something else and come to you guys, why do you think that they don't go through a service in the first place? Do people just not know that you guys are out there, or is it a cost thing or a family, like what do you
That's a
think?
really good question. It really is. And when I kind of went into discovery to kind of find out, some don't even know that we're out here, like don't even know. Others have used different services and had a terrible experience. This is my own personal experience. Before I joined this company, I had to place my mom in Chicago, and it was a nightmare. It was so overwhelming. There were so many options when I opened up the Yellow Pages back then. And it was difficult. So I reached out, you go on the internet. It's like, how do I place my mom? And
Mm-hmm.
one will pop up, and I use this one that pops up generally. And it was really, really hard, and there wasn't the support. I had like 50 names to go through, and
Oh
it's like,
wow, yeah.
what? How is that
That's
possible?
not that helpful.
Yeah. So, and I had nobody by me. So one thing that I do, well, there's many things I love about First Choice, but one of the things is that we're with you side by side. I mean, we tour with you, we meet with you, we meet with the client, whatever we can do to really advocate and get to know what it is you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll also guide if you're looking for something that, in the trajectory of the disease that they're suffering from or whatever their diagnosis is, we kind of look ahead and go, oh, maybe we should think about a different type of environment. And this is why. So we'll work hand in hand with the doctor, the family, and the
Awesome.
client.
Yeah, that's huge. I know that there's so many great things, but do you have a favorite thing about First Choice Advisory?
It is hard. I don't know that I can answer with one thing. So one apart, I'll just kind of chunk it out. We've been
Mm-hmm.
around 30 years. That's the longest in Washington history. You don't last 30 years without having a heart and a soul. And I love it. I love who I work with, and I love the company that I work with. And you just don't get to say that so many times in your life. And these people are as real as they get. So I couldn't imagine working anywhere else, truly.
Yeah, awesome. Do you have a favorite experience or moment or success story to tell to kind of help us see a picture of what you guys do, or a great experience?
Which one? Hold on, let me go through. I got it all. No, if I may, I'll tell two short ones
Okay.
to kind of show a different kind of contrast of the clients. But there was a client that was kind of dropped, just kind of came out of nowhere. And this poor fella was schizophrenic. He's had suicidal ideation in his previous, time. It hadn't been for a few years, but he had a lot of complex diagnoses. Bipolar. It was a very difficult placement. People read things on paper and go, nope, I don't want any part of that. But when you meet him, when you see him, when you talk to the family, it was such a difference. I became such a huge fan. I'm like, darn it, I'm going to find a place. And usually we are very successful as a whole with 3 to 4 places. We show you out of these 3, one is picked and it's, great fit and it works. This took 8. This took 8. And the 8th one was a place we didn't even contract with. We didn't care. We just didn't care. So what that means is we may not get paid for that.
Mm.
We didn't care. We found this gentleman a perfect home in the area that they wanted too. It was only 9 minutes from the family.
Wow, that's great.
There's so many other details I could tell you that it was just so, so, so complex. I checked back 6 months later because we do, and I didn't even have to. They said, we've already just sent you something. Well, I got home, and it was a letter that just said, thank you. Dad is thriving. He's no longer on a wheelchair or a walker. He's walking. He is interacting with people. He's the happiest he's been in his life. And even now that gives me chills, but
Mm-hmm.
just was perfect. And then
Mm-hmm.
The second story that I really enjoyed was I took this lady and she kind of had an idea of what she wanted in mind. So that was good. And I picked, the three top that I thought checked all her boxes. We went to the very first one. She said, "That's it. This is it. This is perfect. I don't need to go no more." And I'm like, "But shouldn't you see maybe one more? Let's
Hmm.
have some different views." And she said, "No, absolutely not." She said, "You did your job. I want this one." And it was like, yes. So that's kind of
Yes.
been the standard. I'm going to try and get it on the first one.
Yeah, yeah, that's so great. And that that first story really shows to tell that finding the right environment for you is so huge. And I feel like a
It
lot of
is.
people think of senior living and assisted living and all these different options as like skilled nursing and nursing home, or I don't want to move anywhere else, I want to be in my own home forever. And that's
Yeah.
great for some people, and my goal is to keep people home as long as possible too, if
Hmm.
that's what they want. But for some people, I feel like they really can thrive in an environment with activities for them to do and social interaction. And I think it's all about the right time for moving too. I feel my grandma
Yes.
stayed home, until she was gone. And at the end, I feel like she needed to, because she had passed her point. But if she had maybe gone somewhere earlier when she was a little more active, she could have
Right.
been more involved in some things. So I think going out there and just touring and learning about different facilities. Shoot, I go to a assisted living and they have a bowling alley and a movie theater. And like it's so cool these days. They have so many options. So
It is. It's
yeah,
very
it's
different
awesome
than it
to
used to be. Hmm.
hmm
And even for
cool.
adult family homes, there's one family I took that absolutely no adult family homes. No, 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 no. Well, we went to several memory cares and it just wasn't right for him. So I'm like, give me a moment, just give me one. Let's tour one. And maybe you can be educated differently, and because they're much different than they used to be. They're regulated, all of that. So he went to one, then he wanted to go to another one. And he chose that one and he said, "This is going to be perfect." And again, the mom did great. There was no exit seeking behavior. She felt at peace. And that's what we're looking for is, again,
Mm.
it's like a matchmaker. It's like the right fit.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. What geographical area does First Choice Advisory work with?
We work from Snohomish County all the way up, Bellingham down, I should say. So Snohomish County, Pierce, of course, King, Thurston, Kitsap, all the way down to Portland. And then we do North Idaho and the Eastern Washington as well.
Awesome. And then you were talking about contracts with buildings and that's how you get paid. Is
Mhm.
there any cost to the families for them coming and working with you?
Our service is 100% free to the families, 100%. They get to use all of our knowledge, experience, and data for free.
Mm,
And all of us work together as colleagues. So what
awesome.
I don't know, somebody else may know. So we
Hmm.
are 100% free. And who we contract with is, I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing that's really important is we just don't contract with anybody. We don't just, if an adult family home says, "Hey, I'm new, contract with me." We
Hmm.
go out there, we review that home. We get a very clear idea of their disclosure of services. What is it that they can or can't do? Um, and then we have a rating system. We always track referrals that we have offered and that have moved in, and then track with the families. So we always have a trend of how their care has been um, completed and how the family feels and things like that. So we have a really good idea of what they offer so we know what might be the right fit. So it really helps. And the contract that we do is done way ahead of time. It has nothing to do with the families.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's so great. Such a great service. Um, how does First Choice Advisory help someone to age with independence? Since that's kind of the theme of our thing, if
Yeah,
there's something that you can think of.
absolutely. So when we are kind of called to the scene, so to speak, we really assess where they're at, where they're going to go in their recovery, and then what the ultimate goals are. If it is for them to get back home, or if it's to go into just a little bit more of an assisted living or even independent where they can get their meals and housekeeping and that's all they need. The rest is they're independent. So we look at what's current and what the goals are and what's realistic. And at that point, we have what we call a tribe, and you are part of that tribe, as you know, so that if placement needs to happen other than in their home, they can still work to be as independent as possible. So our tribe includes you go with your occupational therapy and you show them how they can get stronger, do things differently. And then that also is like anything from elder law attorneys to, mental health, mobile mental health, just all the services that we kind of keep close to us that we trust and that we would recommend so that we can offer that independence and just, keep them making their decisions as best as possible and supportive of.
Awesome. Yes, the support the whole way through the whole process. That's so amazing. And like I said, just so many people have no idea what's out there and don't know where to go, and it's so overwhelming. And I worked with a client once who was looking for places, and she had a caseworker with her and basically just sent her a list of like 100 places that she had to call and do these things, and it was awful. So I was able to kind of help direct her to an agency that kind of guided her a little bit more. But
That's
yeah,
great.
there's just a lot.
Good.
So it's great to know, what's out there and be able to share that with everyone. So
Right. And just connecting. It's like just the resource, the link.
Right. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I hope everyone learned a little bit more about placement agencies in general and First Choice Advisory and all the awesome things you can do for them. And hopefully you're able to help some viewers out by them coming to you.
That would be awesome. And I love what you do too, Heidi. We will stay partnered up because I just think what you do is so important and so helpful to keep people at their most independent. So
that's the goal.
And their most happiest.
Right. True.
So
well,
thank
thanks
you for
again.
having me.